when we think about retiring, we've got to think about, well, we've got to avoid running out of money. That's probably the number one rule, right? And so we've got this stack of money that we've built during our working years and our investing years, and then we've got to keep that money. Welcome to the Urban Property Investor. I'm your host, Sam Saggers, here to help you crack the code of real estate wealth. Today's show, we're going to dig into when to retire. It's a critical question. A lot of people I am dealing with these days are actually thinking about, getting off the drug of going to work. So let's have a chat about it. We never know if it's going to be a great episode till we get to the end. So let's see what happens. But welcome back, regulars. You know the drill. Play the program in double speed. Get your life back. And of course, all the episodes I've done are actually lessons on wealth and real estate and just good times, really. But hey, I'm having a good time. I just jumped off an aircraft from running around Brisbane, and I tell you what, that market's still going gangbusters, isn't it? It's still very, very strong. Certainly does feel like everything that goes to market sells within hours or even days in Brisbane. And I tell you, it's no signs of stopping right now. But really, that's why we invest. We don't invest just to own little houses around the place. We take really our hard-earned money today and we put it into the market so that we can dividend and help our future self. And of course, a lot of people have done that. They've actually helped themselves to a point where, economically speaking, they can start to pull the trigger on retiring. But it is a little bit of a puzzle, the concept of retiring, and I'm certainly helping a lot of people at the moment unpack this. I've got customers and even some good friends who've put themselves in a position to become economically free in this world, to become free from debt, to become free from basically their need to go to work. And I've seen some people who have retired too early regret the move because they felt a little bit isolated from really the fast-moving world, if you like. And I've got other friends who effectively could retire, but just simply get up every day and still go to work just for the sake of doing something and doing it on a job that I know they don't like. So retirement is a bit of a battle. The idea of giving up what we know and going into a new world creates a lot of anxiety. And for certainly a lot of people that baby boomers and Gen X, sometimes they are now faced with the reality of what next? What happens next? So there's some big questions to unpack here. And really, as simple as it sounds, retiring is really dependent upon yourself. There's no really set model. And so you have to align what your goals are, your life expectations, and you need to surround that with your financial situation to kind of shape this retirement timeline. Remember, you could be retired and out of the workforce for a very, very long time. And as you get older, you do get wiser, but many jobs and employers start to almost think you can be too wise and too old. And there is a level of, an inability to get back into the workforce as a mature age person if you leave too early. So the right time isn't just about feeling old. it's about really readiness. And readiness really is about shaping your life, creating some expectations on how you want to live the many decades that you do have inside of retirement, and lining up that financial situation to kind of coexist, because you can retire with no money, and that's not exactly an exciting thing to do. You can retire from society and go live in at Lake Weirdo in a little caravan, but can you do that for a very long time? And so it's really expectation you need to think through as you get a little bit older. So really step one is, what does your retirement even look like? What are your goals? What does your lifestyle want it to be? And do you or have you achieved everything you want personally and financially? And of course, if you can nail that, if you feel like you've financially conquered the world and you personally conquered the world, it's usually a pretty good signal to do what you love. And that may be getting on a little sneaky fishing boat and, I don't know, waking up every day and doing something completely different with your life. Certainly, when I look at my own world, I could actually retire, but there is so much personally I want to do inside of my profession. And there is things that I feel that I haven't achieved professionally. And so for me personally, that is a big motivator. And it helps when you love what you do. I certainly wake up every day and just love going to work. I love the action-packed space of real estate. But as you, I think, get older, it's very, very important to make sure you've got the hobbies, you've got friends and family, you've got companionship, because when you start to wind back work, you're going to need to lean into many other community support concepts, whether it be sport or hobbies or family or friends. And a lot of people who I grew up with, my peers, I would say 50% of them are now retired at basically in their late 40s or just early 50s. And all power to them. I know some of them have made a bucket load of money through investments, through business, and achieved a lot in this world and feel like they don't need to, keep going in that space and have basically retired. I've had friends retire and feel like they've retired too early and struggled with the, long days of retirement. And you think about it, if you're not doing something, you may fall into the trap of you actually need more money than you think you do because you're occupying your time constantly. So you've really got to visualize what your future could be. Is that, selling your principal place of residence? Is that putting more money into superannuation? Is that relocating to a more affordable part of Australia to arbitrage your wealth you've created through your family home? What is it? What is it? And for most people, they just simply don't know what it is, so they never get off the rat race. So you've really got to start to plan this stuff out, and that's where, financial advisors and advisors in general can sort of just map out, what do you actually want? And certainly I know in our business, we've helped people map out what they want. And there's some cool cats like literally driving around Australia right now, getting rent from real estate and paying their way around Australia, basically semi-retired, just basically cruising day to day, just having a good time. And that's what retirement means to them. They do want to go to 75 Lake Weirdos in a camper van. And that's cool because for them, that was always a goal in their space. So I guess when we think about retiring, we've got to think about, well, we've got to avoid running out of money. That's probably the number one rule, right? And so we've got this stack of money that we've built during our working years and our investing years, and then we've got to keep that money. And, I recently went to a 3-day conference called The Exit Plan. It's held by Andy Fenton and Jason Witten. Great conference. And really what it edifies is, making money is one part of the puzzle, but then you've got to keep it. You've got to keep your money. And again, like your portfolio, if you are a property investor, you've got to be able to hold on to that portfolio so that that portfolio can maintain your lifestyle. Now, think about what you need to live on. For a lot of people, that's a mathematical formula. Now, for a lot of people I speak to, they want to live on $100,000 passive income in retirement, which of course means that if you were to mathematically buy real estate today, you would need about $2 million worth of investment property to spit out about $100,000 in gross income from rent. And that's based on a 5% rental return, a gross rental return of 5%. Of course, there's costs on real estate, it's taxes. So you're probably going to need a little bit more than that. And I teach the 4X growth plan, which effectively helps people choose real estate for both rental growth and capital growth. What we want if we're going to buy $2 million worth of real estate at a 5% yield is for that yield in 15 years' time to be 10%, and that $100,000 to be $200,000. And so we want to make sure that the real estate we invest in matches our retirement goals. And really, that's all I do as head of investments in my world and for other people. I just make sure that I'm choosing investments that's got a common goal. The common goal is retirement. To retire, you need income. The income needs to come from assets. And if assets don't grow from an income perspective, they can certainly hold you back. But really, the common sort of goals, if you like, is to avoid running out of money, maintain your lifestyle, increase your wealth as you're in your retirement. And for a lot of people, it's also to die with zero. Yes. If you want a fascinating book, read Die with Zero. It's really about making sure that as you age, you're spending your wealth in line with your lifespan. And as your lifespan unfolds, you're doing some exciting things and making most of the bucket list you should have. And again, there's some great teachers on things like the bucket list itself. You can Google the bucket list guy and start to make your bucket list. Die with Zero is a pretty cool book because it kind of highlights that we have different energy throughout our life. And, maybe going on a cruise ship when you're 35 sounds great. But maybe save that one to your 95 and your legs don't work so well. When you're 35, you might want to go to, the Dolomites or something like that and climb a mountain. Make sure you arrange your life based on your spans. Now, you've got 3 spans: your lifespan, your work span, and your health span. And really, the health span kind of concept is different for everyone as well. But if we can maintain a healthy existence, we can create a wealth span which lines up against a lifespan and a work span. And if we're healthy, we can make sure that we've got the energy to put into wealth creation. And really, your health span is the most important, because if you're unhealthy, you may have to end up leaving work early because you just don't have the energy to keep going. And of course, that can impact your lifespan. A lot of people who are unhealthy do not live a long time. And the average age in Australia is increasing, but there's a lot of people living to 100 and a lot of people passing away at age 60. So hopefully your health span is good. If not, you should start to invest in it. And it should be your number one investment, putting money into your healthy existence. I know personally I spend about $700 a week just on movement and health and sports and activities. It seems like a lot of money, doesn't it? But it's worth every cent. So you got to plan for a pretty long retirement. I mean, you could be retired if you pull out at age 60 for 35 years. Think about that, 35 years without income from a job. So your assets need to produce. They need to produce. And again, like if you need to spend $300,000 a year to live and maintain the lifestyle you enjoy, or $500,000 a year to live and maintain the lifestyle you enjoy, you're going to need some income producing assets to spit out cash flow. So make sure you start early in real estate, because the better off you'll be later in life if you keep your assets that you buy well when you're certainly a lot younger. But for a lot of people, even if we said $100,000 is a requirement per annum, and you're going to live for 35 years, that's a lot of millions. That's sort of $3.5 million worth of real estate, right? Or $3.5 million worth of wealth. Now, you can do really my automatic acquisition plan to end up with $3.5 million. Really, all that is you're going to buy four properties. And those four properties, if you were to pick them up for, say, $750,000, you're going to watch them double in value over a 15 to 20 year period, even triple in value over a 15 to 20 year period. And what you're going to do is really simple. You can sell two of those properties, pay some tax, and pay off the debt on the other two. That's really the principle of, at a bare ass minimum, property investment. If you can scrap to get to that place, you can use leverage to pay off debt. You can use one property's growth to pay off another property's debt. And really, that's kind of the model if you want to end up in a place where you've got unencumbered assets worth millions. And again, you could sell your entire portfolio and just put money in the bank and start to whittle away at that money. You could add it. You could buy bonds. The simplest risk-free concept in the world, an Australian government bond. If the government goes broke, they'll print your money back to you. So however you create wealth, you've got to also factor in, you've got to keep that wealth. And really what you want to do is allow for 35 years. You want to allow for the maximum amount of really how long you can live for after work. And that could be you retiring at 65, but you're going to live to 100. you want to allow for 35 years, and just be prepared to live longer than you may expect, because people are, and people are learning how to hack living longer. We're living a healthier way these days. People clued on to health and wellness, more movement. I go to the gym every single day, and the amount of 70-year-olds now at the gym blows my mind. I love it. They're there every day, moving their bodies and strengthening their legs and their back. People are into it, and I can't say that. I've been going to the gym for a long time. I can't say that 20 years ago I was running into 70-year-olds. It wasn't a thing. My grandparents passed away in their 60s, so people weren't living as long as they do now. And in Australia, we live a very, very long time, but it's the state of how we live which is the questionable part. Are you living the width of your life or just the length of your life? And really, we want to live both a long life but a wide life as well. So what will your income be? Will you be needing the pension? Will you need to work part-time? Does your superannuation look after you? Do you need to buy a small business that spits out cash flow? Or do you have real estate income and income from assets to support you? And really, when I look at those categories, it's really, I'm not relying on the pension. I'm not going to rely on a salary. I am really relying on superannuation, my real estate investments, and my business investments to fund me for the rest of my life. And again, I could probably bugger off now, but I choose not to because I enjoy the passion of my role in this world. And it gets me up every day. So I don't feel a heavy burden to stop work. But I know people do, and I see people in all sorts of roles. They get unwell because they go to work. Of course, when your work makes you feel unwell, you don't want to be there, and your work span starts to shrink. And because your work span starts to shrink, all of a sudden, that's a lead indicator that you need your wealth sorted out because you're going into early retirement. And of course, some people just go into early retirement and can live off a moderate budget, which is all power to them. But just remember, you've got expenses in retirement, just like you do when you have a job, and your living costs, your taxes, your family costs, it'll all be there when you retire. And then you've got other costs, which you've got to factor in, because if you're going to retire, if you're going to want to do things, hobbies, you're going to travel, you're going to want, luxuries, you're going to want things to do. And again, like if you think about what it costs just to go out and have, me and my mate went out the other day, we had 3 beers each, a pizza, some salad, 2 salads, a pizza, and then we had, two steaks and some potato gratin, and it was $300. And so that's pretty normal, right? Like anyone who goes to a reasonably nice place, and it wasn't a 5-star place or anything. It was just, middle of the road kind of restaurant down at Manly, $300. So if you're going to do that twice a week, when you're much older, you're going to need some dough. And again, inflation will double your living costs. Every 20 years, inflation will double your living costs. Now, I bought a $9 coffee last week, It's official. I got the photo. It's officially the most expensive coffee I've ever bought. That same coffee, 10 years ago was $4. So inflation will double your living cost roughly every 20 years. It just comes out of its box in a rapid fire way sometimes, and we saw that during COVID. So again, this is why when people I coach say they want $100,000 passive income, I say, great. And really what I'm trying to do is get them $200,000 passive income from real estate investments, because I know my Forex growth plan doesn't just focus on property growth, it focuses on rental growth. So you're just going to need a budget should you factor in what retirement will look like. And you're going to need to work out the maths, how much you can spend every single year for 35 years. And what that looks like. And that could be a mixture of superannuation, could be a mixture of selling down some assets. It could be a mixture of income producing assets. And really, we're all different. We've all got different things coming our way based on how we've lived our life. So you got to line it up. And you got to live within your means, because you've got to, well, not within your means, within your goals. And so you've just got to sort of map it out and just think about the length of your life and to die with zero. And there's nothing wrong with spending it. You just, you don't want to take it to your grave, or you might want to set up some, obviously beneficiaries to consider, family and friends and so forth. But, I'm a believer, you earned it, so you enjoy it. And, I see much older Australians that come from a different era and they're taking every cent to their grave. We are in store for the biggest wealth transformation the world has ever seen, because much of the builders and older baby boomers have done really well in this world, but they certainly haven't squandered their wealth. They've kept it. And really what we're going to see in real estate is one of the biggest transformations of wealth ever, where older Australians who pass away pass on sizable amounts of real estate wealth to their family. And so certainly if you think about the generations ahead of us, that's how they've sort of lived their life. They've still got a lot of wealth. But is that how you want to live your life? You want to take it all to the end, or do you want to, spend your retirement time just enjoying it as much as possible? So it's completely up to you if you spend it all, or whether you end up in a place where you don't even need to spend because you've got so much cash flow being coming your way. Your path to retirement is pretty simple. It's your risk tolerance around asset selection and wealth creation. It's your cash flow strategy around asset selection and wealth creation. And it's your asset allocation mix between real estate investments and your superannuation as well. So you just got to think about how your portfolio is going to work. And that may mean, not even buying too much property inside of super, which throws you over certain thresholds. You might buy one or two, but then you might top up your super using some other strategies. And this is where a great financial planner can come into play. And of course, there are plenty of ways to get money into a tax-free environment like superannuation. There's PPOR, downsizer contributions that you can put tax-free by selling your principal place of residence. There's non-concessional contributions. So you can really talk to a financial planner about this kind of stuff, because that's what they do. They do a financial plan around wealth, around your health span, lifespan, and your health span, your lifespan, and your work span. So your assets will determine your returns. And again, the better the assets, the better the returns for your future self. And so really that's kind of my job. I kind of put together the assets. I take it pretty seriously, but your assets determine your life's choices, your returns, your return on investment, but your return on your life. If you've got higher growing assets, they're just going to do well even in your retirement. So when can you retire? It's a pretty simple equation. You can retire when your portfolio can sustain your desired lifestyle for your time horizons. And that's it. What lifestyle and over what time? And again, I would suggest 35 years. And, you choose your desired lifestyle. But I couldn't think of anything worse than having stress when you're older about money. I could not think of anything worse. I know as you get older, your cognitive ability to rationalize things changes. And if you've got a very limited amount of money, it's not going to be pleasant whatsoever. And I do see a lot of older people really all they do is wake up and have a cup of tea and a biscuit and watch TV all day because they can't go outside and spend money. And it's a real shame. It breaks my heart to see that. I spend a lot of time with some of my family who are older, go to their friends' places and things like that. And it breaks my heart because, really the quality of life is the question. And we've got to build it while we can do it. And, that should be motivation enough to get into the real estate world. All right, folks, that's it from me. I hope that was a good chat, and we'll talk again soon as we workshop more real estate principles. Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Property Investor. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube so you never miss an episode. I'd love for you to rate the show and share it with your family and friends. Let's spread the word about property investing. Stay connected between episodes on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And check out the rest of our podcast network at positivementor.com.au. And if you're serious about growing your property portfolio, don't miss our complimentary Property Investor Nights. Register now via the link in the show notes. See you next time.